Hey traders, Cousin Vinny coming to you on Monday the 27th, Memorial Day, 7:15 p.m. This is a three-line break chart. We can see that we did break this substantial uptrend on the short term, and we have one candle to the downside. The S&P Mid-Cap 400, we can see the same scenario. A brief pullback. We've got the 20 EMA and the 50 period EMA underneath us. It's very likely that we could come down to the 20, bounce and then resume this trend, or if there's further weakness in the retail sector and a few other sectors, we could see a move down to the 50. Russell, same thing as we would expect. This is just showing a aversion to risk at the moment, being it's May, the end of May, and finishing up with the spiders. Three-line break chart. We have a little move down here. Note the A rune is pegged at the highs, although we did come off the lows on the A rune down indicator, so keep an eye on this. Also note that the ADX is peaked briefly, and RSI is dipping down below 70. Also notice the S&P stocks above their 50-period moving average is moving lower, so we'll have to keep an eye on that and the advanced decline line. Looking at the hourly advanced decline, we can see that we had a little bit of a bounce off of this level here and moving higher into the close on Friday. And if we look at the daily, we can see that bounce coming back to zero, possibly on Tuesday. DBV, the carry trade, we can see that we broke down through Kumo and we had a doji on Friday. Note MACD is crossed down through zero and stochastics is pointing down again. If you're bullish on stocks, you want to see this continuing to move higher as it did here for most of the last part of 2012 and into 2013. We saw the carry trade continue to move higher. Okay, we went sideways, we hit the Kumo, instead of bouncing, we dropped down through. Looking at the European top 100, you can see that the Euro stocks also had Thursday and Friday red days. But the trend is intact and moving higher short term, long term, and medium term, intermediate term. Keep an eye on the NASI summation. We see the possibility of a cross here, which was sell signals here in late February and mid-March. We also had a buy signal back here in November, which was pretty huge. So keep an eye on this going into the week on the NASI. NYMO is negative. We're at negative 40. So that's something to keep an eye on as well. Looking at the SPY to the US dollar, strength-wise, we're going sideways. Okay. Note that we had a move down in May of 2012. We're not seeing that kind of move. We're moving sideways. So the strength here is pretty pronounced on the spiders to the US dollar, as well as the spiders relative to the commodities, the DBC ETF. Note we're continuing to climb. We have a little bit of a pullback here. RSI is still up near the 70 range. We don't want to see this come back down below 50, obviously. We want to keep an eye on that. SPY relative to commodities. Note in May, June, we bottomed here on this indicator, spider to DBC, and we rallied up to this level in mid-June. The spiders to the EEM, emerging markets, you can see we're back above relative strength, above 70 on that move lower on EEM, as well as EWJ on Thursday and Friday last week. Note that we're moving higher, SPY relative to the emerging markets. And you can see our MACD SPY relative to gold, you can see that we've been moving sideways for most of the summer into the winter months, fall and winter, and then we started to climb spiders relative to the gold trade, and we can see RSI is moving off of the 70 level, and we're still up here at highs. And SPY relative to bonds, the TLT, we can see that we broke above these levels, and we're actually holding pretty good strength up here at highs that we put in so far in May. But you do want to keep an eye on the stochastic and MACD. They look like they're turning over, so we want to keep an eye on these relative comparative trades. Want to keep an eye on these relational indicators. Taking a look at some of the leaders, we have Apple. GTO doesn't like this inverted head and shoulders. I do personally. We can see that volatility is starting to decrease. Bollinger Bands are contracting. We have this level up here that if we get above this level, we could get into this Kirby. We have RSI continuing to move higher. Note stochastics and MACD. In Google, we moved off of those fresh 52-week highs. RSI really took a hit, and we're coming back down to the 20 period, and we stopped dead in our tracks right there. Note this Kirby shelf here below price, and also at this level that we put in these highs back in March as a possible support level. Amazon weak as well, but note the Kirby shelf here where prices are stopping at, as well as the 20 period. We're dipping below 50. Let's see if this gets back above 50 this week. And note stochastics and MACD. Keep an eye on your sectors. Note cyclicals are holding the 20 period and a nice little bounce. The semiconductors are holding right at the 20 period, as well as some of these other sectors too. So I'll be watching these. Note IYR got it really raked over the coals last week and moved right down through the 20 period and down to the 50 before we saw a hammer Thursday and Friday. Note the hammer on IYT as well. Steel sitting on the 20 period. And XLP had a nice white candle on Friday. Looking at the sectors for box setups, we can see IYT is sitting here right in the zone. So let's keep an eye on a green candle here at this Kirby shelf, as well as RSI still bullish above 50. Okay. And stochastics and MACD are turned, so we have to keep an eye on those as well. Give it a couple of days. We'll just watch and see what happens. Semiconductors, you can see that we're looking like we want to do something here. Stochastics is almost oversold. MACD is crossed. Keep an eye on the semiconductors as well. Biotech's holding strong, holding in 10 period EMA. XLB, another inside day on Friday, and RSI is heading a little bit lower. Stochastics and MACD. XLE looking okay, holding the 10 period. RSI is heading a little bit lower, and MACD and stochastics are with. XLF is holding very strong, fairly strong I should say, holding the 10 period. And we had a nice green day on Friday. Industrials not looking so bad. Considering everything, these sectors are looking pretty good. Holding the 10 period EMA, and RSI is moving off of the 70 overbought range. Technology, remember the NASI summation index, we had a crossover, so we need to keep an eye on that. Maybe it bounces off of that level that we pointed out in the beginning of this video. And so keep an eye on the technology sector as well. XLP is where I'll be looking for a lot of my setups. Note this is one of the only sectors where RSI is bouncing, moving higher, and with a nice green candle on on Thursday and Friday, bouncing off of the 30 period, and we've got a nice box set up right here. Nice volume and no stochastics. This is the best looking sector so far going into Tuesday. Interest sensitive stocks got really whacked last week. We had this move down on XLU. We had a bounce, came back up to the 10 period, moved off of that. This was your crossover. This was a box set up to the downside, short, if you took it on Monday. Okay, RSI's continued to head lower, and we had substantial volume on Thursday and Friday. And healthcare not looking so bad either, flagging sideways, but not as good as XLP. XLP is the sector to look at. Okay, so I hope this helps. This is Cousin Vinny coming to you on Monday the 27th with a quick look at the sectors and where I'll be positioning my thoughts and my trades, probably in XLP. Take care, and we'll see you in the room tomorrow.